files just ready to go. So
I got a couple files. I got oh, we're live. Wait till you see this Hawaiian shirt that I have. So it looks like a flower. It's like, well, it's like a Hawaiian flowery shirt. So
nice.
in our high school, we had, I don't know if you guys do this, but in Michigan, but do you guys have what's called the jamboree before the season starts?
No, I mean maybe something similar, but I don't know.
Okay,
Explain
so
it to me.
the jamboree it's like before week 1. It's like week 0. And it's after, the summer practices. And so we invite like 4 other schools to our high school, and what you do is you scrimmage for like 20 minutes against 3 other schools. It's like you rotate around and you just run like offensive sets.
Okay.
It's like you'll play against like these other schools for like, and there's refs and everything, but you only play on like half the field. So like you'll play like just going in from the 20, you'll play against like, and you rotate and you play 3 other schools just to just get some reps. Do the whole, like everybody comes out. And so for the jamboree, the theme is always beach. And so the like the students all wear like beach wear and like come out in like the swimsuits and stuff and like all that. Well, the coaches wear these Hawaiian shirts that have like the Viking and the H and like the Hawaiian stuff. So I got one of those from the athletic director. So I'll be rocking that on the cruise. It's
awesome. You're funny. That sounds awesome. Dude, I got some shirts too. Yeah, I bought some new stuff. So me and Emily have a couple weird matching shirts.
Well, see, Mallory has this shirt. She had it last year, but I had to get one Monday from the athletic department. Mallory won't match me. I wish she would.
We have these like flamingo shirts that we wore last year that we're gonna wear again this year, and we have some matching like penguin shirts.
Oh yeah, those shirts you match.
Dude, the flamingo ones are sweet. They really pop, man. They're awesome. So
totally. You know what? I'm gonna ask Mallory to bring her shirt. Maybe since
I have a 2X version of that flamingo one. Like it might be a little big on you, but like it runs small. So like I had to actually get a bigger one. So
if you have an extra one, bring it.
Dude, I should bring it for you. Like you, me, and Emily.
Yeah, if you have an extra one, bring it. I'll wear it. I'm gonna ask Mallory to bring her.
It might be big on you though, but
not after I eat all that stuff on the cruise. Wait. Ready to tear it up. Okay, so I'm trying to find some listener questions in the email that are.
It's hard to pack for this long a trip because like we're not doing laundry.
We probably will once.
So we're bringing 5 suitcases because we have a suitcase that's just fish extender stuff.
See, what does Eddie Murphy do?
Yeah, I know. But you know what? Then that opens up a lot of souvenirs.
I know that is true. You have a lot of space coming home because your fish extenders are pretty big.
It takes up a half a suitcase, so I might be able to use the other side for like some shoes, maybe. I don't know. But the thing is, the fish extenders are like 38 pounds. So
dang,
I don't have much more room in that suitcase because of that.
It is. Okay, so everybody that's tuned in, hey, happy Thursday. This is our UK special again. Prime time in the UK is what we call it with our captain's hats. Yeah, Scott's leaving in mere hours for Walt Disney World. We leave Saturday morning at 5:30. When I broke that news to my wife, AM, she was not very excited because I didn't tell her until about a week ago what time.
Dude, I love that early flight, man. You get so
She's like, that's cool when you go by yourself. She's like, you don't need to be booking that flight when we're going with you. I'm like, but it's cheap.
So I don't even care. It's actually more expensive for me a lot of times. I just want to like get down there, like knock on wood. It helps with like travel delays usually if you take that first flight out, and then I just go straight to the pool. Like I'm just gonna be napping at the pool at Grand Floridian tomorrow morning.
That's why I said we have all day Saturday and Sunday to do nothing. Like no pressure. Like we can, because we're at Coronado. I'm like, we can just go sit at the dig site. Like, and we can go, if you want to go to Disney Springs, we can do that. If you don't, we don't have to. Like we can just chill. I'm like, we can just, get lunch at the old Pepper Market, or we can get something at the poolside bar. Saturday night we're having dinner at is that Saturday night that we're having it at the Sunday night?
Sunday night, the Grand Floridian Cafe.
So Saturday night we would probably go to Disney Springs.
Yeah, I'm doing fancy that night. In your
words, what are you doing that night?
I'm going in our koozies.
Oh man. Okay, good. So Saturday night we'll go to Disney Springs. That'll be good because Mallory will want to do that. Another UK friend. Hey, Kate, what's going on? Okay, so yeah, if anybody has any kind of evergreen questions, because this first show is for next Wednesday while we're out to sea. This would be awesome.
So then did we already do another listener question show then for like the week we get back too?
We skipped that listener question. That's the one where we did
a draft. Okay, gotcha.
Episode, and then that Fridays that what was that?
Oh, the yeah, okay, yeah.
Show.
Yep, I remember that one. Yep.
Because I've had to schedule all the tweets. That was crazy trying to get the dates right for all the tweets. Okay, so
I had a question for you though, real quick. Do you want me to post something about like people sending like videos? Like what were you wanting basically?
Yeah. So if people could give us like short videos.
You want short videos. Okay.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Well, I mean,
if it's easier if they're shorter. Yeah.
I mean, you're the better one at making the video.
Yeah. It helps if it's shorter, or else I'm going to edit it down.
15 to 30-second snippets or something. Okay.
So I'll post something in the Facebook group after we're done with this, just to get it on people's radar, and then I'll like just have them email it to me or something. So okay.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do for the Monday show when we get back, okay, because I'm getting back on Monday, the 10th, but super late at night. So obviously I won't be recording a Monday show for that next week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to record just audio like I used to do a long time. And I always say,
we said every time we go on.
And I'm going to try to do it this time is put together just an audio clip show. So I'm going to try to get audio from us like a little bit while we're at World, a little bit on the, mostly while we're on the cruise, and just get enough to cover like 35 minutes and just get audio clips to cover that Monday when we come back.
Okay.
I can throw that together during the week because I get
the 17th or whatever.
I can do that like during the week.
Yeah.
And then we'll be good till that next Monday to record the next week's shows. So
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
just go around and just like record stuff on my phone.
Because that Wednesday you would normally do like a trip report night for the following.
Yeah,
Monday.
the Wednesdays when I would do the.
But instead you'll do this audio clip.
Yeah, so that way if I can collect some audio clips.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
No, but I think I can because we'll have lots of listeners, and plus,
I know
it's not World. Like we're going to be on a ship. You know what I'm saying? So it's not going to be like here, there, and everywhere. It should be easy. Oh yeah, I've been watching Love Boat nonstop. And I'm getting my dad's binoculars tonight. So we'll have binoculars. So like, it's kind of fun. So we can look out at the other boats while we're out there. Yeah. And for like our little part where I want to do the, like intro. I want to be stupid.
You really want to do that stuff?
I totally want to do it. I'll get binoculars for it, dude. I'm selling. I got it. I wish I had the outfit. I'm bringing binoculars. I'm all in.
All right.
Okay, let's do this. Let's see. So the first question, we got a question from Chad about MCO. It's good. Actually, I have a question in here about Magic Bands. That's a good one from you. For you, because you're the Magic
Man. I'm the Magic Man.
You are the Magic Band.
That heart song. We're gonna call it Magic Band instead of Magic Man.
I don't even know that song.
You know that song that
I probably know it if I heard
He's
it.
a Magic Man. Doom 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 doom. You know it.
That reel you sent me last night was so I was laughing my butt off.
There's Sounds only dads here. I love it.
I was like, this is the most real thing ever. It was like Steely Dan.
Oh yeah, it was good.
That was hilarious. All right, we gotta do this. Here we go. It says 23:15 for next Wednesday. All right, here we go. We'll be on the ship at this time. Where will we be on next Wednesday?
We'll be at Castaway Key on Wednesday.
Here we go.
Free throw contest.
Yes.
Dude, I was gonna buy this old like Pistons jersey, like a Dennis Rodman one, but like it's like gonna be like $165. Like that's like a crazy investment just for me to like wear a Castaway Key.
Even though that'd be awesome. But
I mean, I would rock it because I love like the Pistons, but I decided not to. Maybe next time.
Rodman played for the Pistons.
Oh yeah, that's where he started.
An NBA guy. See, I always think of him as a Bull.
No, he was. I mean, the Bull is like when he started going crazy, but like he was like awesome with the Pistons.
Or in a dress.
Bad Boys.
I always think of him as a Bull or like in a wedding dress. That's two things I think of him. I never thought of him in a Pistons jersey.
Oh yeah, man, he was awesome.
All right, here we go. 23:15. You were missing all the good stuff for the show right here, dude. This is the best stuff. Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 2315 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great weekend. Pardon us if you hear seagulls in the background or waves lapping up against the microphone because myself and my co-host today, we're chilling out at Castaway Key on Disney's private island. Actually, we're doing some work today because we do have a free throw contest pending right now over at what's that called, Scott? The place where we're
it is called In the Shade.
In the Shade. That's right. We're going to be there.
Which is a great place for a fair-skinned guy like me.
Yes, you got to get the tram where the tram guy says, make sure you put on your sunscreen, man, and stay hydrated. But yeah, it's going to be a big day at Castaway Key with our podcast listeners. We're in the middle of the podcast cruise, but we're never going to leave you here without a podcast. And we're going to have listener questions here because if you're not on the ship with us, well, next time, join us. We're going to have fun, but we're going to keep you here with listener questions, having fun. Thanks for downloading the show. Scotty G joining me. I'm sure we're having a blast on the Disney Wish. What's up, Scott? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday to you. Happy Castaway Key Day. One of the most unique things, right, about a Disney cruise. There's so many great things with the characters, all the entertainment offerings, but there's something like that private island, Castaway Key, that I absolutely love. So looking forward to, Mike, like having lunch with all our listeners that are sailing with us. We're going to have that fun event where can you beat Scotty G at a free throw shooting contest at In the Shade. We're going to be at the beach having some cocktails. It's going to be an awesome day. And yeah, I'm just having a great cruise right now.
Funniest thing about shooting free throws specifically is that because I played high school basketball for my first couple of years and I played in middle school and like Corey, elementary. And my dad was my coach for a while. And so he always made us shoot free throws at the end. It was like he had like the Indiana kind of philosophy. Like you at the end of practice, when you were exhausted, you had to shoot 100 free throws.
Yeah.
And so I was a really good free throw shooter back in the day. But I'll tell you what, like I've gotten old and I haven't picked up a basketball in years. I cannot shoot a free throw anymore. So I went up to meet Paige in Chicago a couple weekends ago, and she gave us the tour of the UIC practice facility. So we had the entire practice gym, which is awesome up at UIC. And so I said, give me a ball. I want to shoot some free throws. My first free throw, dude, air ball from the free throw line. I was like, man. My ego was like, I couldn't, and I shooting with a girl's ball, like a women's ball. It was terrible. So
good news for you at In the Shade. It's more like the arcade style shooting free throw. It's a little bit, I think, actually, now I'm trying to remember, because I remember the last time we did this, you and I were there, and there was like a dad and his two sons, and they were wearing like North Carolina Tar Heel jerseys.
Oh, dude, I remember that.
And I was like, all right, well, I'm Michigan State, man. Like we got a battle here. And like those guys could ball a little bit. Like I remember that.
So what's that meme? You never play cards against a guy who's named after like a city or something, and never have a free throw contest against anybody in a North Carolina jersey.
Or Michigan State. I'm just saying, like, talking about your free throws. I think I told you this before. Tom Izzo preaches free throw shooting because there's the story where at his high school in Iron Mountain, Michigan, he missed the front end of a one-on-one that cost him the high school championship. So ever since then, he shoots like 100 free throws a day because he just never wants to miss anymore. And like he preaches the free throw shooting, kind of like what your coach did back in the day. So
yeah,
that's our sports fix for the day, right, Mike?
Every time we do a show, I apologize. There always goes down the sports, the spiral there for a few minutes. So thanks for thanks for tuning in to sports on a Wednesday morning for us. Yes. And by the way, yes, the pirate costume has been sorted out. Kevin is asking here in the live chat on Facebook because we record live. It is out for delivery according to Amazon. Going to arrive within the next 15 minutes, according to my phone.
You'll be wearing it tonight as the night this episode drops too.
It should be interesting because I'm cheap. It is a pirate costume, men's pirate costume, but I did not splurge for the expensive one. I went for the cheap one. So I'm just hoping that darkness covers the cheapness of my costume because I did want to dress up, but I did not want to spend a lot of money. So it's going to be not pretty. So
not to get off topic or like on a tangent here, but I just can't get excited for Pirate Night. I love the fireworks, but the show is like really long and I don't know, like I just can't like dress up for it. Kudos for you. Like I know you always got like the wig and you do some eyeliner and all that.
You have the wig. I found the wig. Yeah,
but like, back in the day, I would wear I would try to wear like a pirate looking shirt, and now I've just given up. I'll do the bandana. Liz will put the bandana on me, and that's about it. I do for Pirate Night, but it's a fun night. Just for me, I just can't dress up for it for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I gotta I got to fix them. Like maybe I should quick order a pirate costume.
Sure, man. I'm telling you, and I'm planning on not shaving that day because I shave every morning, but maybe I have a little stubble going. I don't know. It's
Wow.
I do enjoy. I enjoy like the Jack Sparrow, like off the smokestack kind of thing, and fireworks. So we'll see. Yeah, it's some fun. Okay, so let's get to the questions. That's why here, stop talking about this stuff everybody's saying. I'm sure. We have a question here actually about magic bands. And Scott, if you didn't know, he is Mr. Magic Band. If he's not hashtag Scotty G, he's hashtag Mr. Magic Band. And a question comes in from Kate and Benjamin. They're over in the UK and says, hey, Mike, Pam, Ricky, and Scott, quick Magic Band question. I think Kate's in the chat actually right now. We are coming over for an epic split stay in August. The middle of our trip includes the Star Cruiser, which includes standard magic bands. Hubby and I will have watches and phones for our first week, but do you think it'd be a good value for the money to get a Magic Band Plus for our 7-year-old who loves scavenger hunts to use for the first week before we get our Star Cruiser bands? Thanks, Kate and Benjamin. So would you splurge for the 7-year-old to get a Magic Band Plus to do the scavenger hunts and all the plus stuff?
No, that's a great question. And at that age, I think it's 100% absolute yes, because one thing about that age too is like with the variety of the options for the Magic Band Plus, like that could be like a cool thing for the 7-year-old to just kind of look at all the options, like, oh, I want this or I want that, or because like I like this character, I like this theme. So it breaks it, they can kind of like personalize it in that way instead of like just getting like a generic color. And if they want a generic color, they can obviously do that too. But I like that idea. And yeah, because there's cool things that happen with it. I know like we're past the 50th, but Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but those gold statues are still out. And I think they still interact with those bands if you run into them, or am I wrong there, Mike? I'm trying to read your body language.
I mean, last time I was down there, what's funny is when you're running a race, this is kind of a tangent. When you're running a race, like they'll zap you when you're not expecting it, especially in the one that always got me was the one when you're going down the heart of Epcot, like going from Future World or from a World Showcase to Future World, or what, the old part. And you're coming up on well, it used to be Mouse Gears. Now it's Creations. There's one right there that gets you it gets me.
Figment. There's a Figment.
It's Figment. It gets me every. And I think it's my watch. So I'm like, okay, am I getting a notification? Nope, it's just the statue. And yeah, but I think they are still active. But you're right, 7-year-old. What you're going to the Star Cruiser. You're spending quite a bit of money. Or actually pounds. You're spending quite a bit of pounds. I want to be correct here. I want to make sure I make you feel at home.
But there's cool things like with fireworks shows too, and then opening the door to your room and like just all the color flashy things that it does. Like I think it's a cool thing, and not even if they didn't do those functions, I think they look cooler than the old Magic Bands do too. They're kind of bigger, have some cool style to it, some cool color options. So I would 100% get that Magic Band Plus for the 7-year-old.
Mike Rallman even bought 4 Disney bands for his family. I mean, for this cruise that we're on right now, and paid over $100 for these suckers. So yes, do it. Cause it's all the fun. You don't want to have regrets. Go all in. You're 99%. You're over 99% there. Get it.
Enjoy that Star Cruiser. That's going to be one of the last offerings, which is crazy to think. So have a great time there.
And may the force be with you always. All right. And Chad has a question. Hey, from OKC down Oklahoma City way. Have you heard anything about the wait times for security at MCO traveling in 2 weeks? July 14th to the 18th, actually, really soon, with several who do not have TSA. Last October, the wait was almost 2.5 hours. So I don't have TSA. You do?
I do.
Fancy. See, I should be knocking on wood because I'm getting ready to go. Actually, I'll be heading back through here shortly. I've always had good luck, but I'm a super early get to the airport guy. Actually, we'll talk about the kind of logistics of our traveling habits on Monday's show. And I don't have TSA, but I really don't have problems, but I do pack my patience. I have seen super long lines. I go through Southwest. I go into that gate. But I haven't heard terrible things lately, but again, summer crowds but I mean, 2.5 hours. I don't know. Like I go through Southwest and I've never seen that kind of crowds, but I've seen it on the other side. Like you got the two sides you go through. The Southwest side, I've seen long lines, but I've never seen the crazy lines that I've seen on the other side. Because I've seen people lined up in that food court area like way down to get through security. I don't know what the deal is with that other half, but
I think the thing with MCO is always like just pack your patience if you don't have TSA pre-check. I mean, I don't think it makes a difference with that it's in the middle of summer. Actually, I think that's going to be better than around like the holidays, to be honest. I think the summer is one of the slower times, but there's so many attractions. Like it's just not Disney, right? So it's bringing a lot of travelers, but just pack your patience in. I always like to show up 2 hours before, even before I had TSA pre-check. That was my number, 2 hours before, and I felt pretty comfortable with that. So, and there's an app too. Like you can go online and check their wait times too. They're really good about posting those. If you follow their Twitter account or you go to their website, they'll give you an idea of what those wait times are. So before, like the day of that you're heading down, I would just keep my eye on that. And then if it starts to skyrocket and it looks really bad, then make your way to the airport a little earlier.
And MCO actually has a way you can pre-book your going through. Now, I've never done this. I always say I will, but it's one of those things that just skips my mind with everything that I have going on when I go, and I should do this. But if you go on, because they have a really good, strong social media game. Now, I saw you and Matt Parrish going back and forth about what you thought of MCO's airport in general.
I'm not a fan of their airport.
You had a hot take. Do you want to talk? Let's give 30 seconds about this. That you think that Matt had some good points, because with MCO. Now here's the thing. MCO has a very strong social media game. Like they are really good about engaging the travelers and making you feel positively about their airport, because they do a lot of good things. Like they have the dogs, and they have their dogs on there. They're always doing positive, punny kind of posts and stuff like that. I appreciate what they do. They really do have a good way to spin, their destination. Plus, when you go there, you're typically very excited because you're going to Walt Disney World, you're going to Universal, you're going on a cruise. Like you're typically not going into MCO for any kind of a bad reason. You're not going there for a business trip. You're going there to have fun. So you're usually excited for that. That's an exciting destination. But when you do separate that, the logistics of it, you are usually walking a long way to get to your bags, to get to your ground transportation. You are putting some miles. And so I think you and Matt were going back and forth. And I never really thought about it that way until you guys had the conversation.
Yeah, me and Matt were on the same page. And our friend Mike from Radio Harambe was on board with this too. It's like, I love Orlando area. I love going to Walt Disney World. And like you were saying, this is not, and I'm not trying to be negative to the people that run their social media account or run the operation there at MCO, but I do think it's an awful airport. I really do. And I think people, because you see people love it, like, oh yeah, MCO, like I got to take a photo of the carpet and all that. People get really excited about it. And the reason they do is because it means they're on vacation. Mm-hmm. Like what you were just saying, like it's the excitement of being there. But like the logistics of that airport, I swear it's like still like in the 1980s there with that carpet, the smell, the way you got to navigate. Like you got to go up 5 flights of an escalator just to cross one little path, and you have to go back down, and you have to go through another tunnel here to get to the car. I mean, there's so much stuff going on that I think it's awful. And then someone that flies Delta, I know you don't fly Delta, Mike. Their Delta wing is horrendous. There's like 6 gates. There's 6 gates, and they all are leaving at the same time. This could be part of Delta's the way they do their operation too, but it gets so congested there. There's like 2 food court there's 2 food options, and like half the time they're not open. One of them's a Burger King, and it's never open. So you have to go with like this Nathan's like sandwich place, which is awful. Like, I don't know. The idea of leaving MCO like always like gives me like nightmares. So it's like, oh my God, I got to go to MCO and deal with all this. But the excitement of being on vacation is what makes people really like it, I think.
Yeah, it was an interesting take because I always get excited going to MCO. Like I'm pumped. Like I love. Again, I'm new to flying though because I was scared to fly forever. So flying is actually part of the vacation for me. Like I love getting on the airplane. I love looking down, seeing the geography of our beautiful country. I love that. Like that's super. But when I thought about it, you guys have valid points. Like because I've flown into
you should fly to Tampa. See what you think of that one.
Yeah, I did when I was a little kid once. I remember because there's a little monorail there too. But I do, like when I flew into Long Beach, like that was such an eye-opening experience, right? Like you just got off, like you actually got off like on a flight of stairs. Like they brought the stairs out, you got off outside, you got your bags right there, and bam, you were out of there. Like I was like, this is wild. And even my home airport of St. Louis, which we'll talk about again on Monday, we'll kind of talk logistics, but things are close. Like you don't. It's not as spread out, but I mean, it's a huge airport, and it gets,
I say this about Disney's hotel rooms. I know we're like really going off topic here, but like Disney's hotel rooms take a beating, right? Because there's so many people that are in those rooms, that their their occupancy rate is so high. And I think about that with the MCO airport. The occupancy rate is so high. Like there's people always constantly in the restrooms. There's people constantly doing this and that. Like it takes a beating, and it's hard to like keep that up and looking pretty all the time. I think it's really tough on their staff to do that. So not a knock at them, but I think it's just because so many travelers go through there. It's just rough. I really wanted to see Detroit's Delta terminal, Mike, and then you would just I think you would be amazed at like the difference between MCO and Detroit's. Like it is unbelievably night and day between those two.
Well, there was even a big difference when I flew that one time Frontier out of MCO, that part of the airport from Southwest. Like the Southwest area of MCO was a lot better than the Frontier. The Frontier was just like, it was like a nut house down that area. I was like, wow, it was like a free for all down there. I couldn't believe it. Like, it just felt like it was a different airport. I was like, this is wild down here. I don't want to ever be in this part of the airport again. It just felt like everybody was, I don't know, it was like people were like roughhousing, and it just felt like it was chaos down there. It's like, I was like, I don't get it. It's the same airport, same people. Anyway, okay. Enough of that. That was how we got on that. But there we go.
Thanks for that great question.
Yes, thanks for the great question. All right, Matt Z's got a question. Going for a week in March, going to be a more relaxed and less parks because of our two young kids. They're 3 and 1. Lots of pool time. Any other activities you can recommend outside of the parks for staying at Wilderness Lodge? By the way, Matt Z, he is a expert snacker, park snacker, formerly. Did that for years, and it was great.
It was a great app that he had going on there. Yeah,
absolutely, really helped us all kind of snack better. Which that's pretty great. So he knows where to find his snacks. But what would you say, Scott? God, they're staying at Wilderness Lodge. What a great! You are a huge. I just gotta say this because you are gonna nail this. You're a gigantic, huge fan of the Wilderness Lodge Villas pool because we had a great day there once during COVID.
The Villas pool is so good, and if I recall, because I know Matt's been on for like trip reports, I think he might be a DVC member.
He is, I think.
Yeah, so definitely so he's probably familiar with that pool. I would hope so. But yeah, that is just a great pool. Like great. This is kind of underrated thing. We kind of talked about this when we did our a recent draft episode or a future draft episode, depending on when these episodes come out.
I can't remember anymore.
But the I love the bathrooms at that pool too. Like it has like a nice shower, nice changing area, like which I think is kind of like an underrated thing sometimes. And it's nice and heated too. So like, I just love that pool. And then you got the Geyser Point. You can order like Geyser Point food while you're at it. So great spot to be there. But Mike, I think you know where I'm going. This is like tends to be my go-to. And I know with those two young kids, this might be a little challenging, but I love the mini golf option. I just love going mini golf. And if the kids are that young, like maybe you have one in a sling or something like the 1-year-old, like, they don't have to play and walk around, but it's something kind of cool. You get to see a different part of the whole Walt Disney World resort. If you're at Fantasia Gardens, you get the great view of like the backside of the Hollywood Studios. You see that Tower of Terror over there. So maybe not the best thing with the young kids, but that's an option out there. And there's that play area too, right, Mike? That's kind of by the Swan and Dolphin. You cross the road and go to that play area too.
Yeah, they could totally do that. And I'm also thinking, just go over to the boardwalk and just walk around. That's kind of a chill place. You could get the kids ice cream. You could, a lot of times, especially, March, spring break time, the weather's great. And, at nighttime, early evenings, even because with the kids, you don't want to stay out too late. They have those like live entertainers that are doing like magic tricks. Yeah, stuff like that. Because you could get a snack, maybe get a pizza, sit out there on the boardwalk, ice cream, magic tricks, and call it a night.
Love the resort hopping idea. Maybe go over to Kidani Village, have a meal at Sanaa, and then like go out on those trails. Like you can do a lot of great animal viewing. You can learn about animals while you're there. Maybe do some of their activities that they offer at the lodge too. So that would be another great thing to do too.
Absolutely. Have a good time, man. This is the best. We're recording this before we leave for the podcast cruise, obviously, because we're on the ship right now, or sitting on the beach, hopefully, or more likely sitting at cookies too. But those are my favorite, right? Just being able to chill. As much as the theme parks are so much fun, they are, but man, it's just so nice to just relax.
I've gone through phases. So like your family grows and changes, you're right. So like, and Matt's kind of like at this point too, but they're like super young. So maybe they're not in the parks all the time. Like when I started, my daughter was like 3 or 4. So we were very kind of park heavy those first few years. And now we just slow things down, and you're the same way, Mike. I just love pool days. I was just telling you, like, I fly at the time of recording right now. I fly down tomorrow, and I'm not worried about rushing to get to a park. The first thing I'm doing is going to the pool, and I'm just going to chill out for a few hours. It's just taking advantage of those things, like take advantage of the resort offerings is huge to me. And I think you guys are going to have a great time there in March, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. Like we're flying down on Saturday, getting there. Like their flight lands at 9:05 a.m. We have 0 on the schedule for Saturday. I mean, you know how great that is. Like that is we have no tickets until we get on the cruise. Like people might say that's terrible. Like to me, that is amazing. Like the only pool time, going around to the resorts, going to Disney Springs, and then getting on a cruise. I do not want tickets for those first day and a half. Like I just want to, because I mean, like it's been a really busy season the last month with travel. To just not have a computer in front of me and to just sit at the pool and like Paige is flying down. She's landing at like 10:30 that morning. Like to be able to hang out and talk to my daughters and my wife like, without having a computer in my lap.
And I love what Williams is saying here too, because everyone like vacation's different. So he's a little bit older than me, but he loves the being open to close. And you know what? Like, it's funny, Mike. Like you'll probably do this on this trip too, because you'll have Paige there and Mallory and Pam, which is the 4 of you don't travel down there a lot. And there is something fun about doing that open to close every now and then too. Like it sparks like something for me. Like, oh, this is how I fell in love with the parks. Like staying to the Magic Kingdom till midnight. So there will definitely be like a day or two of those that in my trip, but there's less of those now. I gotta admit, because we're trying to enjoy other things. But yeah, I love the open to close too, because those things are just a blast. I mean, you're tired at the end of it, but they are fun.
They are, but man, I'll tell you what, I could run a marathon better than I can do those days anymore. Marathon's only 5 hours. Okay, 5.5 these days. Diane has a question on after hours parties. Is the check-in for the event only at the main entrance of Epcot, or can you check in at the International Gateway? Wondering if I can walk over from the boardwalk or if I should take the bus. Have you ever done that party, Scott? Because it's
a brand new party. But I did watch a vlog. One of my favorite Disney vloggers actually did this. And I'm not like up to date on a lot of this stuff, but I happened to watch this vlog because I was interested in it. So he was,
and you're going to be a vlogger yourself. So
exactly. Maybe that'd be kind of fun. But he was already in the park before the party started. And he was already back like deep in the World Showcase. So he popped over the International Gateway and was able to get the what you needed for the party. So yeah, you can enter from both entrances for sure.
Dang. That helps our average answer time right there. That's a quick one because the other ones have been like 15 minutes.
Because we spent like 6 minutes talking about FCO's airport.
Awesome. Good job, Diana. There you go. Morgan's got a question. Hey, Mike and Scott, do you have to sign up to run the 5K on Castaway Cay, or do you just run at your own leisure? Interested in doing it when we go on the Wish in November, if it's at your leisure. Any tips on what time of the day to run it? First of all, I can get into the second part as soon as possible because it does get hot there. In November, it'll be much better. We're the idiots running it on the 4th of July.
Every year it seems like, Mike. I don't know why we always have the cruise over these days.
But I can tell you what. Right now, as we're recording here, the air temperature is 100 degrees in St. Louis. There's a excessive heat warning. And I just walked out to my deck and I was like, oh, the sun. I walked right back in because I had to get the cushion because it might rain. I got the cushion off my lounger because I didn't want it to get wet. It's like, whew,
I can't be outside for a different, like, I can't breathe outside. Like, our air quality is so bad.
We just need to get on a cruise ship to get like sea breezes and fresh air. That's what I keep telling my wife. Like, I need a breeze. I need to not be like 115 heat index, and I need like not smoke. Like
the air quality here was like over 210, and it's like if you're out there for a certain amount of time, it's like the equivalent of smoking a cigarette. Like it's crazy.
Oh, it's what the last night on the news they said that if you were outside yesterday, you smoked 5 cigarettes.
Yeah,
I'm like, thanks, Canada. I know. I'm an asthmatic. I've not smoked my whole life for a reason. No, I love you guys in Canada.
Yeah, I know. I love
them. They're having it worse than us. I've been praying for them every night. Sure. I do seriously pray for their safety, but
like it feels weird going to Florida for a guy in Michigan in the middle of summer because our summers are just gorgeous in Michigan, and then you go to all the heat and humidity in Florida. But I'm telling you, I'm excited just because I want some better air quality. The air quality is going to be better down there. So
get away. Yeah,
but anyway, what were we talking about? Castaway Cay. That's what it was.
What have you heard about this? Because I'm not what it used to be. You did sign up anytime at the registration desk. They had like a meeting in the nightclub. They tell you kind of the course layout and everybody meet and walk out. You'd be the first ones off the ship. I think it is still on your own though.
Yep. So Morgan, we're gonna have a better answer in a couple of weeks when we come back from the ship. I'm sure we're gonna address this like on some type of trip report or whatever. But from my knowledge, because I did this last year, so this is based on last year, you did do it on your own. You still signed up. You just kind of went up to the. I don't know if you've done it before, but there's like a little shack kind of where the start line is, where you can like rent bikes and rent like tubes and things for the ocean. And that's kind of like their sports recreation area. And you just kind of tell them, hey, I'm going to run this race. And they're like, okay, like just go whenever. So then I went and did the race and I came back. I told them I finished and then they gave me my medal. It was like super chill, just which I liked, Mike, to be honest, because like, remember how it used to be? It felt like a Run Disney race. Everyone's kind of like corralled up, and everyone's like going off at the same time. Like I kind of like just doing it on my own and just not really having anyone around me, which was nice, So I hope and I think that's how it's still going to be, but we will absolutely confirm in 2 weeks.
So be honest, did you do that second loop?
I 100% did, Mike. It killed me.
Okay, because I
got my watch time. I got my Garmin watch to prove that I did 2 loops.
Because just for those people who have never done the Castaway Key 5K, you go around, but you have to do this big jungle loop twice. And it would be very easy if you're not an honest person to just do the jungle loop one time, head out to Serenity Bay, come back, finish up the race, and probably do about.
I went back into the jungle when I came back from I think it's like I call it the tarmac because I think it's like the old airport or something.
The airstrip. Yeah.
I went back into the jungle, Mike, and did another loop.
Yeah, the jungle. I'm already having nightmares. Okay, it'll be no, because we have a lot of people.
But yeah, and Mike said the earlier the better because it's just going to get hotter as the day goes. But like, I mean, that's how it used to be too, right? The people that did that 5K actually were the first ones off the ship. Like you would actually start early, which is kind of a cool advantage because sometimes you could get your beach chair like snack for the day too.
It gave you motivation to run fast.
Exactly,
because you'd be finishing up as kind of the first people were coming down on the tram, and you try to beat them to the beach.
But I do like the new way. You can go whenever if you wanted to like do it before you like went back on the ship. It's kind of cool, because then you're just going to go back on, take a shower. Like that's kind of a cool way to do it. But whatever works for you.
And shout out to Cheryl, who's headed over from Europe tomorrow as we're recording. Safe travels over. And Stacy, can't wait to see you on the ship as we're on the ship right now as the show comes out. Okay, Adrian's got a question. Hey, Mike, podcast crew, BOGP super fan here. I recently joined the Patreon and have been having the best time catching up on the Mike and the Midwest shows. We are close in age, and your podcasts take me back to my childhood and always make me smile. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We have a trip coming up in August, and our ADR window opened today. We're bringing friends who have never been to Disney before. We were able to make most of our reservations for parties of 4, but Ohana only had tables of 2 available. That's interesting. Because that's big. I didn't know they had tables of 2 at Ohana, to be honest. But okay, continuing. We have separate reservations for 11:15 and 11:55. What are the chances that all 4 of us could arrive at 11:15 and get seated near each other? I don't want to inconvenience the staff or be a pain, but figured it was worth asking. In any case, have any of you tried that before? I also have a tough Disney choice for you. We want to do a fireworks dessert party on our last day. Should we do seats and suites at Tomorrowland Terrace? You got to be careful with that one. Or post fireworks party? We can't decide. So we'd love any advice. Thanks for all you do for the Disney community. Adrienne is in New York. Okay, first of all, the 2. Okay, that's really kind of bugging me. At Ohana, they only have reservations for 2. Like I've never seen a table for 2 at Ohana in my life. I
think those ones on the window kind of are.
Are they?
But because it's weird, they're like they fit 3 people, which is weird because like it used to be perfect for my family because they would the table would be pushed against the window, so you have 2 on one end and then the one on the other, and then obviously the window would be the other side. So it worked for tables of 3. So I think those might be the tables of 2 that they're talking about. But
I think big groups, like seriously, I always thought of big groups. That's weird.
Yeah. But so 11:15 and 11:55. So I mean, you know how this rolls, Mike. I mean, there's nothing guaranteed, right? You just kind of get up there early, maybe get there around 11 and just kind of explain the situation. Ohana is a pretty popular restaurant, especially for like the breakfast time there too. So they'll do what they can, but there's no guarantees, but they'll do their best to try to accommodate to have the 2 tables close by.
Yeah. Again, my best advice is get there probably for the 11:15, get there at 11 o'clock, even get there 15 minutes before the first reservation. super excited. Like, this is the reservation I've been wanting. Like, I came to Walt Disney World to eat at Ohana, oversell it to the host or hostess. And then, we got 2 reservations. We tried, man. I tried to get 4. I just couldn't do it. Is there anything you can do? And they're going to want to try to make your day. That's human nature. And if they can, they will. And they probably can.
And then 11:55 is probably like, I had to imagine, one of the last times for breakfast. So I feel like the restaurant's going to be thinning out maybe a little bit then. So I think it's in your favor. Just go up there early, like Mike said, and just ask.
And Cheryl's got a good point here in the live chat. She says, suspect Ohana would be able to accommodate, but I would try to adjust the reservation on the day of because the new cancellation policy, it could be an opening. So just keep playing with it on the day of. Because
that's a great call. Yeah. Just always look there's so many people that travel to Walt Disney World that make reservations that they're constantly making changes or cancellations. So like, yeah, that's a great tip for any type of ADR that you're trying to get. Just keep looking and checking.
And what would you do? You're a big fan of like a big thing on the last night. Like we went to Disneyland the last day, we did Blue Bayou, which was, oh man, perfect.
Man, if I had $1 for every time you said that, man, I wouldn't have to
help it, man. That was the best thing ever. Like I will never, you nailed it that day. Like you are my best bud, man. And you just like, I will never forget that because Disneyland was like the perfect trip. And it couldn't have gotten any better than that day sitting there with my family, my bud, his family. We're in Blue Bayou, man. We're having hurricanes in Monte Cristos. We're having Monte Cristos into Monte Carlo.
I might have to go to Cheddar's tonight for Monte Cristos.
I was like, it can't get better. But I mean, okay, so give her some advice. The last day, fireworks dessert party in the Tomorrowland Terrace or a post fireworks party.
So is I think the post fireworks is still in the terrace, right? Like you just switch, like you do the fireworks, you do the desserts first, then the fireworks, or vice versa. I think is what you're saying.
I think so because I never do the parties. I did it once. The one at the Tomorrowland Terrace, though, party it was awesome, but I did it
I would do the fireworks first and then go do the desserts. I think that's kind of a fun way to do it. Like, you get the entertainment there, you get excited, you're in a good mood after watching all that, and then you go do the desserts afterward, and then maybe have a little more fun in the Magic Kingdom afterwards, just depending on the park hours. That's the way I would do it. And I love closing the trip off that way. You guys are going to have an awesome time.
Because what it does, it makes the last day or the last night of the trip not so depressing. It gives you something to look forward to at the end of the trip. Otherwise, you're counting down. You're like, oh, the trip's coming to an end. But if you have something really cool at the end, you're excited about the end. Now, after that, too bad, so sad. But
yeah, for us, it was the Disneyland fireworks because out in Disneyland, man, the fireworks, you never know what's going to happen. The winds are crazy out there. So I think the fireworks got canceled on our last night with that Blue Bayou dinner, but that's all right. We still made the most of it. We went on Casey's train, and that made it all up.
Yeah, that is, dude, that all of us.
You know what? The fireworks did go on. We saw them for the Matterhorn. That's what it was. We were on the Matterhorn when the fireworks went off. That was actually like a cool way to end the Disneyland trip.
It was. But all of us were in the monkey car, like in the monkey cage car on the Casey Jr. train. That was another epic memory. I can't believe we did that. That was the best picture. We'll have to pull that out. Okay. Last question of the day. Cause again, free throws, cookies too, Ocean.
Maybe Castaway Key 5K.
Well, that's behind us by now. I hope.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, maybe they were thinking super early. I don't know.
I remember I told Brooke I would do it twice because I think she has like an excursion that morning. Like they're doing like the stingrays.
You gotta watch what you say, dude. Be careful. That is,
dude. I with all the eating, I could probably use another 5K, Mike. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm getting up and doing something early on the treadmill before the 5K, but I'm doing it inside because I'm not. You are playing. You're playing with fire when you get out there. I'm telling you.
I have experience. I know.
Okay. All right. I might do it with you. We'll see. Okay. John Rose. I believe John is my good buddy down in the Ozarks. He's a great mural painter down in the Ozarks, down by Branson. He's amazing. But he says, "Hey, Mike, Pam, Ricky, and Ep Scott, my Disney friends. My wife and I have stayed at Pop 3 times now, 2 times before having kids and once with 2 kids. We now have a family of 5 and are planning for when our youngest is 3 and have outgrown Pop, which really breaks my heart," he says. I get it. "We have been considering Port Orleans, Riverside, or Caribbean Beach because they each have the 5th sleeper option and they are the most affordable. I never hear anything about Caribbean Beach, so really don't know much about it, but the pool looks pretty rad, and I love that it's a Skyliner resort. We also briefly considered a suite at All Star Music, but not sure. A suite at Art of Animation also looked nice, but we would save money just booking a room at, but we would just save money just booking a room at the Contemporary, maybe throw a split stay in there. Anyway, Riverside and Caribbean Beach are both front runners. Any suggestions? Which do you prefer? Any positives or negatives? Am I forgetting anything? Thanks, y'all. Love the podcast. Makes mural painting fly by. So that is John down in the Ozarks.
Nice.
He is a huge St. Louis Blues fan because he's been on Twitter as the draft was happening a couple weeks back and just living and dying by people I don't even know who they are. I mean, I like the Blues, but I have no idea who these 18-year-old kids are in Canada. But I appreciate his passion. So I've seen his murals in Branson, and I've got my picture taken in front of a couple of them, and they're just incredible. So back to John's question. So I feel his pain because once you get into a family of 5, then you really gotta, your options go either 2. You could always do 2 rooms, but if you're looking for like 1 room for everybody, you are looking at Riverside 5th sleeper, Caribbean Beach 5th sleeper, music family suite, Art of Animation family suites. What do you, I mean, I know you're not in that situation. You're kind of the opposite family of 3, but what do you think about like Caribbean Beach and Riverside? Like compare those.
So yeah, I love those options, Caribbean Beach and Riverside. So maybe like 6 months ago, I would have given a different answer, but my answer is Caribbean Beach all the way. So, I mean, it holds a special place in my heart. It's where my family's first visit was. So in the Jamaica building. So I love Caribbean Beach just for that. It's where the magic began for my family. But those rooms have been like so dated for me, and like I just need them to be upgraded so badly. But it looks like that might be happening with those Little Mermaid rooms that they gutted those pirate rooms and they made those Little Mermaid. Now that's not guaranteed that you're ever going to get one of those, right? But there's hopes that could spread around the resort by the time you have the 3-year-old. So I would 100% go with Caribbean Beach. And you said it yourself, John. You got the Skyliner, like that is like. As you being a Pop Century person, like that's really important and valuable. And those pools are great. Not even just the main pool. Like I love the quiet pools. There's so many quiet pools at Caribbean Beach. You can go to Jamaica, Aruba, like all over the place. They're so nice. And it has an awesome food court too. So it's kind of a no-brainer for me. I'm going Caribbean Beach all the way.
And plus you can walk over to the Riviera too, especially if you're in Aruba or Jamaica or even Martinique. You can walk over there and eat at Primo Piatto. I mean,
get our breakfast sandwich over there.
Yeah. I mean, it's just walk over and see it. So yeah, I would go. Riverside is beautiful, and it has boat service when there's enough water apparently in the Sassagoula River, which it's back. So that's good. At least it was at the time of recording. So you can go to Disney Springs, but I think you guys are probably going to be more theme park focused. So you probably Skyliner went out. So I do Caribbean Beach as well. So cool stuff. Great questions, Scott. So let's get back to vacationing.
Let's go back to vacationing, exploring the Wish. Tomorrow we have a sea day. That is my favorite day on the cruise. So
Palo tomorrow.
Palo brunch.
Yes.
I know. I was thinking about my shoes. Like, I don't want to bring like the dressiest of shoes, So I'm gonna bring like these like little Clark shoes I have that are like black shoes. They're not like super like tuxedo dressy. I think it's gonna work though for Palo.
Yeah, I don't get super dressy, but I'll be dressed.
I wish I could wear shorts in there. I wish I could wear like a nice golf shorts, but no.
Yeah, I'll bring some pants. I think I'll bring my white pants from the last cruise. Maybe.
I can't fit in those.
I don't know.
I've gained some weight since the last cruise, so I'm out on that.
I better try those on before we leave the house here in like 36 hours. That's a good idea. All right. Anyway,
we're going to fit. I got a pair for you.
I don't know. I'll probably find some doctors or something. Anyway, but old church or teaching pants is what I call them. All right. So we are going to jump out here. Of course, we'll have a show on Friday. The shows will keep coming in the normal pace. So stand by for those. But don't forget, our show is brought to you always by The Magic for Less Travel. Check them out for all your Disney trip planning needs over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. I believe Prime Day is July 11th and 12th, and that link will work for Prime Day. So please use it if you shop on that day. BeOurGuestPodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our patrons who make all these shows possible. We're never going to leave you without a podcast. And thanks for that support. You also get that bonus show called Mike in the Midwest, like Adrienne said, out in New York. And it's a bonus show you get every week. It's patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. Give Scott a follow on social media at @FScott. We're going to have lots of content as we get back on Friday from the podcast cruise. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. I'll have that content as well. And we'll pick up the live shows on Sunday night when we get back on land and back from Walt Disney World. So stand by for that. All right. We'll have a great show for you on Friday. And then on Monday, we're going to have a show, not a trip report. We're going to have a logistics show. We're going to talk about Scott and I, actually that week that we get back, we're going to record these early. It's going to be a Mike and Scott week. And I think you're going to enjoy these shows. We kind of went outside the box, but I think you'll kind of enjoy our topics because we have a good time talking Disney with you. So the Monday show, no trip report, but we're going to talk about the logistics of our Walt Disney World trips, about our home airports, about what we do the night before leaving Walt Disney World. What kind of shoes do we use on our vacations? What are some of our rituals and those kind of things? What do we do to go to the airport at the end of a trip? Things like that. So the things that you might be curious about how we handle the logistics of a Disney trip. And then, of course, we can carry that conversation on the Sunday night show that week to see how you have your rituals for your Disney vacations as well. So we're going to get out of here, back to the ocean, back to Cookies 2, back to Into Shade, maybe Serenity Bay. I don't know if Mallard goes and plays with somebody else.
I don't know if it exists. I've never seen it.
Seriously, I know. It's the same. So who knows? But until we see you again, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you Into Shade. All right, save that one.
Yeah, someday I'll go to Serenity Bay.
Let's see. I think it does exist.
I hear they have different food offerings there.
I heard they got really good food offerings.
I know.
They have like steaks and stuff.
Yes, that's what I heard.
I've heard that too. Dang.
Oh, that's funny. That Friday that you get off the ship is like crazy, like social media day because like everyone's just posting everything.
Breakfast that day.
Yeah.
23:15 edited. Save. Yep, for reals. For reals. Safe travels to you, Cheryl. You got further to go than we do. See you on the Wish. Serenity Bay is 18, I think. That's
18. It's 18.
18. Actually, Serenity Bay is 25 because that's how old the cruise line is. I'm like, count. Okay. So this show we're just making up as we go. Here we go.
Okay.
I'll try
Let's
to
do it.
on the path. And I mean, we never have problems making stuff up to talk about.
No.
I mean, that show just gave.
I mean, we might talk about MCO for 10.
I know, but that was good though. That was
a good conversation.
That was. I agree. Because you guys did have a good conversation on Twitter. I appreciate that. I was like, I'm just following along. This was like the popcorn thing.
I mean, him and I were on the same page. So.
You were, and you had made good points. I'm like, dang, I never thought about any of that stuff, but you're right. I'm like, I love that place, but dang, it is like you do walk 7 miles to get your bags.
I think that was Mike from Radio Harambe who said that. Because he just got back too. He was down there. He had a good trip too.
I love full of it. Yes. Well, kind of good ideas. Not really. Okay, here we go. Last podcast before vacation. Woohoo! Here we go. I'm so excited, man, because we have done a ton.
We have, man. We've done a lot.
It is full of podcasts. Here we go. And I've checked them all off. Here we go. Oh, nope. Wrong. Here we go. Yes.
I got a burp. Hold on.
Okay, are you good?
I think I'm good.
Okay, here we go. You hit the button. Welcome to episode 2317 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you're having a great start to your week. It's a rough one. Actually, today's not such a bad day. Wrapping up this epic Walt Disney World and Disney Cruise Line trip. Last day down at Walt Disney World. We'll be flying home late tonight. But man, what a time was had. Got to hang out with my buddy, his family, and so many of our podcast listeners. And it is truly a blessing when you get to go to Walt Disney World with your friends and meet new friends, get to see friends you haven't seen in years, and just what a magical place to hang out on the Disney Cruise Line and Walt Disney World. So today we're going to have a fun trip, just kind of talking about some of our Walt Disney World habits, rituals, and things we do to get prepared for a trip and things we do during our trip that we've never really discussed here on the show, so we can find out if these things are things that you do the same as us, different than us, and maybe we can help each other do things differently or the same, or just help us all have better Disney vacations. So joining me today for a logistical Walt Disney World conversation, your friend and mine, hashtag Scotty G. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Mike. It's like a sad but still fun day. We're just reflecting back on what a great vacation we just had, how lucky we are to travel and just spend time with family and friends and make great memories. But one memory we're going to make today. So I have planned this kind of around Mallory because you remember it was actually the last podcast cruise. My family took Mallory to the Crystal Palace for lunch. And you've told me over the last few years how much she raves about that meal. She loved that meal. We were laughing. We had a good old time. There's a funny story about this little statue we saw by the Tiki Room because we were kind of seated on the eventually inside of Crystal Palace. We had some good laughs there. So I made us a Crystal Palace lunch reservation for today for our families so that we can do that one for Mallory. So I hope we're going to have a great meal, and then we'll say our goodbyes, sadly, and have safe travels home today.
And this is why Scott is my ultimate travel agent right here, because he thinks about everything that my family likes and takes care of that kind of stuff. No, so today, Education Corner with TA Mike right here. So Crystal Palace is to Mallory as Blue Bayou is to Mike. There's your ACT prep.
I mean, I did have a sci-fi for us too, but the way the studios is working out with you and Paige, that is unfortunately not going to work. It killed me to give that up for you, Mike, because that was your ADR I made for you.
It killed me that you had to give that up, but it's when you have a 26-year-old daughter who gives you her schedule about 13 minutes in advance. You do what you got to do. It also killed me to buy a one-day park ticket. Oh man. That's but again, she told me 3 times she hasn't seen Galaxy's Edge. So you just do what you do. You know, again, we've talked about this on many shows. Today's show is just kind of a conversation between friends. We're going to talk about Walt Disney World. We're going to see if you have fallen into any of these situations that we're going to talk about today. And this is one of them. So I know that we're all in different stages with our families. A lot of you guys are couples. We have solo travelers. We have retired folks. Our audience is vast and diverse. And I love that about our audience because it's great to meet people that are from different backgrounds. And we have people on all different continents. We have people from all different cultures. And it is such a blessing to have that in our podcast audience. But if you have adult children, which Scott does not have yet, you know, we have daughters that are the same age, but I also have a bonus daughter that is an adult now and, you know, has a full-time job, lives in a bigger city than I live in, Chicago, and has a, you know, full-time job that's super busy. You know, she runs a basketball program. So I get it, man. She's out there. Her basketball players are out in the community doing stuff with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. They're in a Juneteenth parade. I mean, they're doing great stuff in the community since the off season. So I'm trying not to bug her, but I'm like, Paige, when are you going to leave? Like, I know you're going on the cruise, but are you going to be with us? Cause you know, she has a boss and stuff like that. I'm like, are you going to, when we get back off the cruise, you're going to be there till the 10th? Cause that's what we're at the Grand Floridian, man. You want to be there. Like we're a pub. You've put in your time, your entire life since you were 3 years old at Pop Century. This is the one time we have 3 nights at the Grand Floridian. You're staying, right? You're going to be there, right? You're doing this. I'm splurging for you and your sister and your mom. Nope. She's only staying until she's flying out the morning of the 8th. She's going to be there one day, but she kept telling me like, I've never seen Galaxy's Edge as long as it's been there. I've never seen Star Wars. She keeps calling it Star Wars Land. And so, yep, I had to buy her one day ticket to the studios, and then I had to rework everything because you had this plan laid out, but I had to go now. So we're going to the studios the day before you were, but we'll make it happen. That's what you do for kids though. When you know, you're a parent. So
that's a Paige-like thing to do after a cruise. I don't know if you remember the time that I introduced you to the greatness that is a 2-bedroom villa at Old Key West. So we had the 2 bedrooms, you know, we're just hanging out all the time. And like, we had Paige with us then. And then she was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave. Like she was like, I'm just going to go home. And she like flew out like 4 days early. Like, Paige, we got the 2-bedroom villa. What are you doing? But it's to be expected with Paige. You know, she's got a uniqueness about her. I love her. She's awesome. But, you know, sometimes she just gets tired of being out on vacation and just wants to go back to the real world sooner, I guess.
Well, I think what it is, she was scared to ask off for more than X amount of days.
Oh, I get it. It's a newer job. I get it.
Super hard worker, right? And she does have, you know, she runs the program. She doesn't want to be out of the office. You know,
or she foresees that like she's just going to be tired of office by then. Let's be real.
That's what she's doing. She just doesn't want to say it. You know, I think of myself like I tried to teach her a good work ethic, so she doesn't want to be out of the office that long. But she's probably just like, dude, I can't handle being 10 days with all those clowns. So, I get it. She's smart. She's covering her tracks. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about, and again, follow us, Scott, be our guest, Mike. We're still down there on Instagram posting all kinds of stuff as we wrap the day. But today I thought we'd just have a conversation about what are kind of logistical thoughts are on vacations. And so we're obviously recording this one before we leave for vacation, even as we're wrapping up our Walt Disney World portion of our trip. Let me ask you, because we're going to ask questions back and forth. And I thought I'd ask you this because you are actually, as we're recording, getting ready to do all these things that I want to ask you about. Like the night before you leave for a Walt Disney World vacation with your family. Now, I go a lot of times solo. This time I'm going obviously with the girls. Now, Paige is coming down from Chicago, so she's not going to be with us, but I'm going with Mallory and Pam. But what about you? Like, what kind of things do you take care of at home? What does your night before routine look like before you leave on your Walt Disney World vacation?
It's a busy one, as I imagine it is for you too, especially when the whole family comes. So my number one thing, and I think this is going to be the number one thing for you too, is where does the dog go? Because unfortunately, the dog doesn't come on vacation with us, and I think Riley is with you right now. So typically, that's my dad. My dad's been retired. My mom passed away a few years ago, so a little lonely over there, so it's good for him to have Oliver. So, and I'm bad about it, Mike. Like I texted my dad like 2 days ago, 2 days before I'm leaving, and I said, "Hey, you're gonna watch Oliver for 11 nights, right?" Like, what if he would have said no?
I know.
Like, that's dangerous. So I don't recommend that. So whatever your normal like pet sitting situation is, like make sure you're communicating that well ahead of time with whoever that's going to be, whether you're going to board or have a family friend or a family member watch the dog. So that's number one with me. But not only with that, Mike, I got to make sure that I have 11 days worth of food. Like I checked today in our pantry, the bag is kind of low. I mean, it's not low where like, oh, Oliver's going to be starving tomorrow, but it's like, I probably would have been getting him food this weekend on a normal non-vacation weekend. So that's another thing I got to go do now. Now I got to go get some dog food to make sure like he's got plenty of food. I want to make sure my dad's got everything he needs to be comfortable watching the dog. So that's usually like outside of like packing. That's like the number one thing I got to make sure, because that's a family member. I got to make sure our other family member is being taken care of while we're gone.
Right. And same for us. Like, so, because we're going down the day after you. And now that we have Riley, we have to think about, again, coverage for Riley. Unfortunately, we have a great next door neighbor that has a couple cats and a dog. And Mallory, I do this all the time. I get Mallory and Riley's names confused. She feels like, dang it, Riley. I mean, Mallory. I mean, Riley. Paige. I'm getting
both end in Y. I mean, you got that.
Whatever. Tell me you don't do that with your dog and your kid too. Anyway, so
no, it's me. Emily calls me Oliver sometimes.
It happens. And I'm not editing that out because that's just the real world. Anyway, our next door neighbor, Brad, who I think I've talked about on the podcast now, flies a cat flag and a pirate flag in front of his house, which I respect. Arr. But he's going to keep, they have a dog, and the two dogs actually play with each other a lot. Like when they go out to go to the bathroom, if they're both out, they love each other. The one's a bulldog, their dog. And so they're super great people. They take the dog for this amount of time, which God bless them for doing that. But Riley's a great dog. She's not hard to watch. She's never sees a cat other than when they're over there. And they're just good people. So we get that squared away. I mean, we took her last year when we went to Disneyland to like a place called the Yuppie Puppy, like to a boarding house. But like she got I forget what it was called, like kennel cough or something. And we got her home, like she was sneezing and like breathing weird. And I mean, she got over it. We had to get her medicine at the vet. So that was kind of a mess. And like Paige freaked out and screamed at us because we took her there. But I mean, it's like the fanciest place we could find in our town. It's called the Yuppie Puppy. And it was super expensive. But apparently that's like a thing when you take your dog and board them. So we're just putting her next door, and like they love her like she's theirs. They always love playing with her. So she'll be in good shape. Same thing. But what about packing? So we are notoriously like, we pack last minute. Like we will pack the night before, and it is just wild. I don't know why we do this, but like that's just how Pam has always done it. And so I've kind of fallen into that trap. Do you guys?
Unfortunately, I've kind of fallen in that trap, sort of. So like stuff doesn't go in suitcases until the night before, but things are being stacked. So like I'm recording in our guest room right now, which has the bed here, which is all of Emily's clothes. So she's all week she's been like putting little things here and there. So she has it ready to go. I just haven't brought the suitcases up from the basement is what it is. So everyone's got their stuff like stacked in laundry baskets or throughout the house. We just typically don't put it in the suitcase until the last day because Mike, we're known for like wanting like a new outfit for a vacation. Maybe we're ordering something from Amazon last minute. So there's usually some orders coming within those last couple of days before a trip. So it's kind of like, I don't want everything in the suitcase yet because I might need something that isn't here yet. So We just kind of wait to put the stuff in, but it's kind of ready to go throughout. I say like five days before we start doing that. But you don't even do that. You just do it all on that night before.
Well, I do have I have a few, I don't even say I have a few stacks, but I have, for example, I have like the podcast t-shirts, my podcast hoodie. I have a floral howl shirt that I'm going to wear on the cruise that I got special. Like the stuff actually, like when Pam goes and gets me my Old Navy, shorts that I'll get, because when we go on vacation, like I will get some newer clothes for vacation and then become like the rest of the summer clothes. I think everybody probably does that, right? You get some new socks, stuff like that you get for vacation, then you wear them the rest of the summer. So those kind of go into a stack. But, other than that, I just the night before, I hate it because it is super stressful, because like we are flying out at 5:30 in the morning. And so we got to leave, for the airport at like 2:30 in the morning. And I'm one of those people, I do like to get enough sleep, or at least some sleep. And so I'll want to go to bed at like 8:00. Well, Pam will still stay up until like midnight. She doesn't care. She'll get like 2 hours of sleep. So while I'm trying to get to sleep, she's pulling everything out of the closet, out of the dresser. We're not on the same sync schedule. Like I want to be packed by like 7 or 8, but she will not the night before. She'll still be like cleaning the house and, like making sure. Because again, are you kind of the same family where Pam likes to, or like Liz and you like? And
I'm Pam,
but you have to like leave the house like totally clean. So when you get home, it's like totally ready to go.
Yeah, like we got to have all the dishes clean. Like we're bad about this too. Like we grocery shop, we have a few meals a week at home, but like the week of a vacation, like we didn't grocery shop this week. We just knew like we're leaving on Friday, so we're not eating at home that night. Obviously, Thursday night is packing night and all this stuff. We're not eating at home that night. Then we're like, well, it's just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so forget about it, because we don't want to dirty up dishes either.
Yeah.
So like we want all the dishes to be clean. We want the house to be super clean. One of the hardest things though, Mike, because we always take that first flight out too, that you're taking this time, is like I want that bed made. And sometimes like I am just like I'm too tired in the morning, I'm getting all the suitcases out into the car, but like I had to make sure I spend like 2 to 3 minutes just to make that bed, because the last thing I want is to come home from a long trip and have a messy bed. I don't know why. That has to be done for me.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is like I usually go solo, right? So I'm sneaking out in the middle of the night, and I do pack the night before so I don't disturb anybody, right? I mean, the only thing I have, I'll leave my suitcase open, out in the living room. And so I can throw on like, my sweatsuit or whatever I'm going to wear on the plane, over the top of whatever. And, my toiletries bag, I just throw in, after I shave and get ready. But I kind of sneak out, throw my stuff in my Jeep and go to the airport. So it is different when we all go. Cause like, I don't think about making the bed because Pam's still sleeping in it. Right. Cause I'm sneaking out at 2:30 in the morning or whatever.
Well, my biggest things though, with these early flights, it's like Run Disney. I make like 5 alarms. I make sure Elizabeth's phone has like 5 alarms, because I am not sleeping through an alarm and missing my flight.
You sleep the night before? Because I don't even sleep the night.
I don't.
I go to bed, like try to go to bed early, but I just lay there and I just fight it, because again, it's like too excited to sleep, right?
So that's why I'm Pam in this case. Like I don't usually go to bed. I mean, I usually don't go to bed till like 11:30 anyway on a normal night, and I'm just too excited. I'm thinking about, and then there's the worry thing, like, oh, am I going to fall asleep during the alarm? Like, did I have enough gas in the car to get to Detroit tomorrow? That's another thing I do tonight. I fill up the cars too, because I mean, you have a shorter drive, and we can talk about this too. I think your drive is much shorter than mine to the airport. Like I had like an 80-minute drive basically, so I got to make sure there's enough gas and all that. But I start worrying about all these things, and then I never sleep.
That's what I was going to ask. Well, I was going to ask about that, but one other thing I was going to ask you real quick was like lists. Do you, because I'm worried about like things I'm going to forget. Like for one thing, I texted Paige. See, again, I'm 90 years old today. I texted Mallory to tell her not to forget to bring her Bluetooth speakers so we could listen to music in the stateroom, like, oh, we're getting ready for dinner and stuff like that. But do you guys make lists? Like, or do you make a list of things, or do you have a list that you use over and over on your phone or something like that? Are you a list maker?
I do sometimes, but like, I just don't. I kind of have a mental list. It's kind of weird. Like you do it enough where you think you kind of have it down. And we talked about this, I think on a live show or another episode recently, where I'm in the mentality, like if I forget something, I'm just going to go Amazon. And like for the cruise, it's challenging because like, it's going to be tough to get stuff on a cruise, but I'm going down early enough where if I notice I forgot something, I can just run the Target or have something Amazon. So I try not to stress too much about that anymore.
The only thing I worry about again is for like a podcast cruise, right? Is like I am writing down things like my captain's hat, because like I can't get that, like pirate costume, the things. You're right. I mean, because Pam like is always scared. And my wife, I love my wife to death. She's my, best friend and everything. But the thing is, like, she is always scared to leave the house on vacation. Like like I'm ready to roll. Like, get in the car, let's go. But like, and she'll be like paranoid about everything. I'm like, if we forget something, there are Targets, there are Walmarts, there are there's Publix. Like, you can buy everything in Orlando. There's probably more in Orlando than there are in St. Louis. So you're right. A cruise is a different aspect, but I mean, you can still get most of the stuff even on the ship. So you're going to be fine. But I don't know, like I think it's like maybe our generation. You worry that you got to have everything with you. You probably don't. Cause like you say, even Amazon at Walt Disney World, you could order it. And here's the thing about Orlando compared to St. Louis, you can get stuff in Orlando like in 2 hours, like not even 2 days, like 2 hours most of the time.
Yep, I try not to worry about it, and I usually have a car, which makes it easier. But even if you don't have a car, you can Uber, to one of these places too. So I definitely do not try. There was a time though, Mike, where I did stress about that, where I would do the checklist and I would like double check everything all the time. But now I'm just like, no, but you don't want that situation to happen. Like, you don't want to spend extra money on things that you don't have to. That's what kind of stinks about it too, right? Like, if you forgot something that might be valuable, like that costs a little bit of money, you're like, dang, like that's going to be a dip into my vacation budget now because we've got the hair straightener and now we got to spend $100 on a hair straightener or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
That kind of stinks when that happens, but well, now you got a backup at home.
Yeah. And like Pam says in the live, not my Pam, but Pam De La Cruz in our live chat says, meds and stuff like that. And that's super important because like I have, I get migraines and I have prescription medicine for that. So I got to make sure that I do get that filled before I leave home. I have gotten that filled. You help me do that. At some place they said it was next to Disney Springs and it was relatively next to Disney Springs. Not really.
Yeah. Meds are definitely a crucial thing, but, and because it's not something that you always have like in your backpack or your travel bag, right? You have like on your nightstand or somewhere like, it's easily accessible for you. It's not like always in a traveling bag. So that is a tricky one for sure.
That's a good tip there. Glad Pam brought that up to bring that in. Okay. Let me ask you though, you mentioned about your airport. Give us your home airport kind of situation. Do you have any rituals like when you get to your airport? What's your airport like? You typically fly out of Detroit, right? How far is it from your home? Home?
So I like to fly out of Detroit. We have an airport in Lansing, believe it or not. But if I were to fly Delta out of Lansing, I would fly to Detroit. So I would just figure like I'm just gonna make that drive. I mean, it could save me with like parking and like save me a little bit. Actually, wouldn't even save me that much time because I had to get there that much earlier for another flight, right? Security would be a lot easier in Lansing. It's a very small airport, but we just drive to Detroit. It's fine, and like it's kind of like if you do like any kind of road trip, like getting to the destination is exciting, right? Even at like 3:30 in the morning, Mike, like I got a playlist running in the car, we're all chatty, we're excited.
Even for me, like, okay, that's exciting for me. I like being on the road in the middle of the night because it's like a different world in the middle of the night, right? Because there's nobody on the road. Like you see all the stores have like empty parking lots. And here's what I do. I listen to that old, cause I'm like a talk radio guy. I'm like an 80-year-old guy. So there's what's that show that they always talk about like aliens and stuff? Coast to Coast AM. It's on Sirius XM. It's on the Trucker Channel, but it used to be on like our local AM station back in the day, like a long time ago with George Norrie. I think he's passed away. Some other guy does it now, but it's always talk about like extra, like aliens and crazy stuff. But it's the weirdest show, but it's only on like from like 1 a.m. to like 4 a.m. So I only get to hear it when I'm driving to the airport at like whack times. So I listen to that. So it's kind of the same thing though. It's like, it's fun to be up that time because it's such a novelty.
Yeah. It's fun, but like everyone's like thrown off because like by the time we start getting to the airport, it's 5 a.m. and like, I'm hungry already. And I'm like, dang, I got to eat. And a lot of the restaurants, it's mostly like the counter service isn't even open in the airport. So that throws me off too, Mike. So sometimes we have to be smart about like, packing something maybe or grabbing like a bagel out the door. You kind of have to think about what is going to be open in your airport. Like usually like, sadly, there's only like usually 2 things open. It's a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's. So I'm either getting like a hash brown of some sort or whatever. But But yeah, so the drive is really good, and for us, we always park off site. You save a little extra money. Like parking at Detroit Airport is like kind of outrageous. Like so we
Isn't that
park
kind
at
of dangerous? I mean, I have no idea. I'm just, this is totally stereotypical,
yeah.
but I'm parking off.
You're being stereotypic. Yeah, it's
I mean,
safe.
in St. Louis, I park on site. It's the cheapest on site, but I am not parking off site in St. Louis.
No, I park off site, and Detroit Airport is not in Detroit proper either. It's in a town called Romulus, which is a little outside of Detroit. But yeah, I mean, these guys have it down to a science. So anyone that's flying out of Detroit, you might know it's airlines parking, and they know what they're doing. I've done it so many times. Like you just go in there, they give you a ticket, you follow the yellow bus, you park, they give you a little, this is where your parking location is. They drive you over there, easy peasy.
How much is your parking a night in Detroit?
So it's $14 a day at this airlines parking, but there's always like an online coupon for like $2 off a day, so it's $12 a day.
Ours is $7 a night.
Oh dang.
Well, I mean, that's
remember the time like I went down like during the 2020 summer, and like I extended my stay by like 15 or 16 days. That was a fun parking fee, I'll tell you that. It was like 22 days of parking.
Dang, I can't even imagine. You could have bought a new car, just left the car there.
So I'll tell you one time though. So Detroit Airport has a Westin, like a hotel in their Delta terminal. It's really nice. And if you stay there, you have your own private security to get into the Delta terminal. And then your parking is kind of like included with that. But the problem is it's like $400 to $500 a night. I'm just like, I'd rather just wake up in my own bed and make that 90-minute drive and do $12 a day parking.
So cool. Okay. So in our airport here in St. Louis, again, it's real. So Southwest has their own terminal, basically. It's called Terminal 2. We have, you have like a $7 lot, you have a $9 lot, you have an $11 lot, and a $13 lot. So you can pick, and they're just obviously further distance from the terminal. But I mean, all it is like it's an extra 2 minutes on the little church van or whatever that you got to get on. And they come around at regular intervals. And honestly, the more people park at the $7 lot, so the bus comes sooner, I think.
It's like the values of the resort. We always talk about that with the values, the best bus service.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you get back, though, the problem is when you got to go back when you land, like there's more people waiting for that bus. So, and it's like it only holds like 20 people. Maybe
it's brutal, man. Like, and especially like in the wintertime, it's the worst because you're waiting outside in the cold, waiting for the bus.
Now, I have seen, because again, in St. Louis, they have jammed like 40 people on that thing. Like it was, you think the buses at the Magic Kingdom going back to Pop Century are full? No, this thing, because people were just paying the guy. Like we're just paying this guy because it was free. It was right. It was marathon weekend. It was so cold in St. Louis. The wind chills below zero and laws were broken. Nobody cared. It was like, I'll get fired. We're like, I don't care. We can fit 2 more people on here. I'm like, I don't know where people are going to breathe on this thing, but I was like, bet, let's go. I mean, we turned corners. I thought the thing was going to flip because it was so top heavy. It was the great. I wanted to take a picture of it, but I couldn't even, like, there were so many people and I could not move my arm to get my phone out of my pocket. That's how tight we were packed in there like sardines. Crazy. Anyway, so that's, I'm just saying, it's all bets are off in St. Louis on the church buses back to your car. So let me ask you about this. So you fly down, you typically fly Delta, right? So you'll fly with your frequent flyer miles, and sometimes you'll be in first class, sometimes you'll be in coach or whatever they call it. So that's typically how you go.
Yeah. So we always fly Delta because Detroit has a huge Delta hub, and it's the best direct flight I can get to Orlando. It used to be back in the day, like Southwest at Flint Airport had direct flights. I always went to Orlando. Then they cut back on that. So that's when we started doing Delta. Love their service, love their planes, love the entertainment on there. So yeah, we usually do the Comfort Plus, which gives you a little extra leg room and free alcoholic beverages when you're in Comfort Plus. But let me tell you this. Let me ask you your opinion on this. So I get like a free beer, not like a cocktail here now. I'm not like a crazy drinker, but I do like to have like a cocktail here and there or a beer. And it's included in my airfare, and it's a 7 a.m. flight. Like, it's kind of weird when they come around, like, would you like something? And I always tell the flight attendant, and it depends on how I'm feeling. If I have like a headache from like waking up early, like I'll definitely pass. But if I'm feeling good, excited, I will get one. And I'd always tell them, like, I've been up since 2 a.m. It's like, I've been up for 6 hours. So I think it's okay if I can have a beer. And I always had that theory. There's no time in the airport. There's no time to travel. So I think it's all right to do that.
Well, I think it's okay because you're on vacation. Like you're headed down to vacation, all bets are off, right?
If I'm flying down for a business meeting, then it's completely different.
Probably a terrible idea at that point. I would imagine a 7 a.m. beer going to,
to a board meeting or something.
To close the deal, probably awful idea. I'm thinking
on the way back after you close the deal now, it's a whole other story.
Bet, whatever. Yeah, go for it, celebrate. But yeah, I'm not much of a drinker either. I don't get one. I used to
you used to always get the margarita on Southwest.
The thing is, I used to get one no matter what because I was scared to death to fly. So that would kind of take the edge off, right? Because people would tell me, and again, today's show is just kind of about the logistics. We're just trying to hang out with you here on a Monday to get you through your Monday. Because again, we're recording early. We had to get some content out here for you. And again, hopefully this is just stuff that maybe you were curious about how we travel. And this is it. But I used to be scared to death to fly. And I drove, that 15-hour drive there and back and, with a baby in the back seat. And that was rough. But I finally decided I got to fly. Like my back can't take it. When you think about it logistically, you are more, my dad kept telling me this. My dad's like, you are way more likely to get killed in a car accident than to be killed in that airplane. Like, just do it. Like he basically told me, man up, get on the airplane. Like for the sake of your family, like you're the dad. Set an example. He told me, don't make your family suffer because you're a baby. Get on the dang plane. And so finally I did. So, but I was like,
you do it all the time.
And I love it. I said this on the show the last week, it's like, when you think about it, it's so neat. And I always have to have the window seat. Now, what about you? Do you always have to have window seat?
I'm more the window seat guy. Emily likes the window seat too. So sometimes I'll sit in the middle. Elizabeth loves the aisle, so we always give. Mom's the boss. Elizabeth is awesome. Whatever Elizabeth wants, she's gonna get. So she always gets the aisle. But get this. So you were talking about like first class on Delta. So Elizabeth has pretty good status because we have the American Express Delta card. We spent a lot of money on that. We put every purchase we make is on that card. So she's got a pretty good status. So she'll sometimes get upgraded to first class. So we'll always book the ticket with Elizabeth and Emily on one confirm and me on another. Because they won't upgrade 3 people, but they'll upgrade 2 people. And get this, Mike, at the time of this recording for my flight tomorrow, those 2 got upgraded to first class. So now I'm going to be by myself. They're leaving me behind.
But see, you make friends easily. You'll have a friend by halfway by probably Tennessee. You'll have a friend.
I probably will. Yeah, I'm usually that chatty guy, but I can read a room too. Like it's early, right? If someone is like not chatting or whatever, then I'll put on my earbuds and all will be well. But
okay, there's nothing I was going to ask you. So when you're flying, early morning flights, like I think we take off at 5:50 and land at 9:05. So it's about a 2-hour, 20-minute flight, or 30-minute flight. When I fly by myself, obviously I just throw on my earbuds and listen to podcasts. And typically I'll fall asleep at this point, but I do like to peek out the window. I have to have a window seat because I have to have control. I do buy the internet every time, and I always fly Southwest. And I'll tell you why. Because I always used to buy a margarita because I was scared to fly, so I'd take the edge off. And I fly Southwest because St. Louis is kind of a Southwest hub.
Yep.
And their flights are relatively cheap, and they have tons of flights out of St. Louis to Orlando, like probably 8 a day. And most of them are nonstop. But also, I'll tell you what, I was sold by their marketing. Like they always have like the hearts, and like it seems like they really do like their customers. Maybe it's like a Disney thing, like they've totally marketed me and they're just totally scamming me. But I like that it felt like the commercials were fun. It was more back probably 10 years ago where, it was like, ding, ding.
Yeah. I know. I felt like their marketing was a little bit better years ago when we flew them. And like I was gonna say, Delta's the same way, but now I think about it, Delta doesn't really advertise that much either. Like you wouldn't really even know, but I think they're actually funnier sometimes and better service than Southwest. And that's not knocking Southwest because I think they're great too. That's why those are my 2 airlines of choice because I like some fun, right? Like flying like could be scary for some people, but I think they like make you relax a little bit with that, and they bring great service at both of those airlines.
Oh yeah, and Southwest has never done me wrong. The Southwest flight crews have always been amazing to me. Like, and now they have me as a customer until for life until anything's ever gone wrong, and it never has. Like I've never I should never say this stuff out loud.
Oh my gosh, Mike, you got a flight coming up.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything, but I mean, they've always been just wonderful, very kind, very just, I'm great. I'm fine with it, good rates and stuff. So, but the thing is, I like flying them because they get me where I need to be, give me a lot of options, but I have to have that window seat. Like I have to see where I'm going, but I always buy the internet because the point I was trying to make about 15 minutes ago is that I have to know the telemetry of the plane. Like, I don't know, like I'm like the third co-pilot or something on that plane from like row 23. I need to know that we're still like going the right speed, we're at the right altitude. I don't know why that matters to me, but I'm always on Flight Aware and all those apps. Like I key it in immediately. Mark Yerkes will get this when he listens to this show because he's the one who gives me all the apps. He's the same way. And like I'm always looking, okay, good. We're cruising at 36,000. We're at like 480 knots. Okay, good. Okay, we're good. That line's steady. You know, we've leveled. I don't know why that matters. Like I'm not in control. Whatever I'm doing back there ain't gonna matter. But I like to know, so that makes me feel better. I don't know. Do you buy internet?
I think it's great. Yeah. So I used to always buy the internet. Now Delta's been updated their planes where it's actually included now, which is really awesome. But I always have Flight Aware open, Mike, because Delta will have like a little on their entertainment screen, like a little flight tracker, but it's not as detailed as Flight Aware.
Yeah, it's like a little fat plane. Yeah. I like to know the detail.
Yeah, and like I'm not necessarily concerned about what you're looking at, like the feet, the altitude, and all that. Like I like to really like take my thumbs and pinch in and zoom in to see like where I'm at. Like if I'm in like some weird town in Kentucky or something, you know, I just like to know like what I'm flying over, and then try to look down to see like, oh yeah, there's some interesting farmland there.
I'm always looking for like college football stadiums
or stadiums
because like, you know, my track takes me definitely right over SEC country. So like, I'm like, am I over Tuscaloosa? Am I over Auburn? And, you know,
you see a lot of like baseball or softball complexes or my thing, Mo, I really look for is golf courses. I love looking at golf courses or like even like neighborhoods. Sometimes you'll see like, oh man, like, I don't know if I can afford that neighborhood. That looks really nice. Like everyone's got a pool.
Florida, you're like, dang.
And I always wonder, is there an alligator in that body of water right
totally.
there?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so yeah, it is interesting.
It'd be interesting, like to like fly like together, like because that's one thing we've never done because we're never like in the same place. Like if we ever had like a connection and we flew together, that would be like who would get the window seat? You know, you would.
I have to because I'd freak out. I think,
or else my flight would be miserable. Or I'll just be in a different row.
Well, see, you don't have to worry about this, but I buy early bird because that's the thing on Southwest, right? So I have to be. Like because I need to have so I am a sucker. I think it's like $20 a ticket, and I just build it into the price of the ticket.
No, it's good. I do that too when I fly Southwest. Yeah, it gives you that peace of mind that you're going to get the seat that you want, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I just figure it's just part of the ticket, you know.
And Southwest, like if you end up in B, like especially if you're going to Orlando, there's so many family 100%. Boardings. Yeah,
100%. You're behind family boarding. You're just like,
you're the last person.
That line is so long. Now, when I flew to Disneyland, it wasn't so bad because I was connected through Vegas. So like I was like, wow, there's not that many people family boarding. But you know, yeah, when you go to Orlando, it's like, where's that line end? The family boarding line. Because there's $6 for days. But I understand it's Orlando. Yeah, so you definitely that's money.
What about you? Do you have like some like I know we talked about like getting there a lot, but do you have like logistics like once you're on property, like I know like I rent a car a lot, but like how do you get to your resort?
Yeah, I mean, used to be Magical Express, now it's Uber. You know, just that because Uber is easy. Yeah, it's again, Uber is such an awkward thing because I really don't like to. You know, it's weird because you have a stranger picking you up in a random car. You know, usually they're very clean and they're fine. You know, I've never had a problem with Uber. Yeah,
but I used a lot of Ubers in DC, like because that was a new airport to me when we went to Reagan and wasn't renting a car because driving in DC is a nightmare. Oh my gosh. And and it was fine. I'm going to actually be doing that at the time of this recording tomorrow because I'm not renting a car this trip, Mike, believe it or not. It's going to be different for me, but I'm worried like I have 5 suitcases. So like what kind of car am I going to order like a limousine?
No, the Uber XL that does you well, I think. But I've never been done wrong by Uber, but you know, it is kind of wild that this, you know, so it kind of feels cool though. Somebody like, hey, Mike, you know, hey, you know, and they pick you up. But you know, my thing is, I don't know if this is rude or not, but I always put my AirPods in. So like I'm listening or like I'm on a phone call or something. I'm not a big talker to strangers, you know.
See, I'm fine with that. I love to talk to them.
Yeah, I don't know because I'm, you know, again, Mike in the Midwest, like we don't ride share up here. You know, I got my Jeep. I drive myself everywhere. I don't ride a bus or a train. We don't use public transportation where I'm from. We don't have public transportation here.
Well, in the Midwest, there's a lot of public transportation, though. Just maybe not where you're. I mean, like Chicago, like you know.
Yeah,
like
Chicago, but I mean, like I don't even go into St. Louis proper. Like we don't have it out here in the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? Like you just don't ever ride with people. You just drive. I want to go somewhere. I get my Jeep. it's wild that somebody's driving me around. I feel like, Daddy Warbucks or something in the back seat. It's just, but it works.
We see it around here too because of the university, Michigan State too, like, which is good. Like, if someone's having a rowdy night or whatever, at a football game or whatever, like, you definitely see a lot of ride sharing happening around here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, let's wrap it here because it's kind of like pre-trip stuff, and we're at the time limit here, but we could carry it on to like when we arrive on property and some of our logistical stuff kind of down the road. But kind of fun to hang out here on a Monday and just talk about some of our habits from the time we get ready to leave home to the time we hit property. It is interesting, and I'd like to hear what our listeners do, because I think we can all kind of hear what we each do and maybe think about doing things differently, or maybe I bet we do a lot of the same things, but it's kind of interesting to hear how others do the pre-trip for Disney.
Yeah, and I love learning about other airports too. Like, I know on the previous episode we were talking about MCO a little bit, and not my so much love for it, but I'm fascinated with other airports. Like when I went to Reagan for the first time, like in DC, I was like, oh, this is awesome, another airport to explore. And I think you agree with me, Mike, like there's something cool about just seeing another city's airport.
Well, you liked Pittsburgh when you went there.
Pittsburgh was great. Yeah. And they all have like their unique thing. Like when I go to Pittsburgh, I think about the Franco Harris, like statue, and it's very cool to see. Like San Diego's is super cool. Tampa's got the flamingo. Like, it's just something fascinating about airports to me. Like, you had the Long Beach one that was new to you, and you're like, wow, this is like so much different than MCO or St. Louis. I like how they all have their own like personalities, the way I put it. And it's just one of the coolest things about traveling. What you don't get that when you do road tripping, Mike.
Absolutely. So, hey, we'll probably have a Sunday night live show this week. So we are back. We'll all be back by Sunday night. We'll have a lot to talk about. So join us, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, Sunday night, 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central. This would be a fun topic to come in, talk to us about. What are your pre-trip habits, logistical things you put together? Also, you can talk about the podcast groups. Plenty of time to talk about. 7:00 Eastern, 6:00 Central. Join us for that recording. Of course, today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Check them out for all your Disney trip planning needs. The agents are standing by right now over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. I believe this week is Prime Day on the 11th and the 12th. So as you're shopping, please click through our link. It works for Prime Day. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our patrons. You guys make all these shows possible. Couldn't do it without you. And our patrons get that bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Thanks so much for your support. It's patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. Give Scott a follow on the social media at @EpScott, EPSCOT, Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. It's our last day in Walt Disney World, so give us a follow for the content as we wrap this epic trip. And of course, we'll be back again on Wednesday. Not a listener question show. It's a draft. We're going to have a good time with that, so stand by for that. Paul, get ready. Got to be ready. Get the pin ready. All right, we're going to jump out of here and wrap up our Walt Disney World vacation. But thanks for hanging with us. We appreciate each and every time you download our show and spend a little bit of time with us here on the podcast. So for Scott, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Monday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. All right.
That was a weird episode. I think it worked though. It was good.
It worked. I mean, Pam was texting me halfway through about dinner, and I'm like, "Oh, good."
I was getting texted. The dog is barking like crazy.
Oliver's like, "I'm not leaving."
Yeah. Well, the girls aren't even here right now, so it's probably a dog outside that's driving them nuts.
Okay. Well,
you did it.
I'm not even going to edit this until later, so I'm just going to save it, and because they want to go get bee hulls. So
okay, I might go to Cheddar's. I don't know. We'll see. I got a lot to do though. We were just talking about Cheddar's. I'm living what this last episode was, so I got to start knocking off all the stuff.
I know you are. I know, and I got a ton to do tonight too. So,
all right.
Anyway, well, I will talk to you before you leave. So.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'll talk to you
tonight. All right.
I'll see you in person in Florida though.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you, man.
Yep.
All right, I'll talk to you tonight.
All right, see you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.